Hi, I'm James from poolshop.com.au. I'm going to just be running through quickly on the G2 Baracuda Pool Cleaner. It's been a solid performer for many years and has been Choice Magazine's best pool cleaner on the market. The reason why they're so good, they've been extremely well made. It's a very simple machine, super reliable, tend to last for around 6 to 8 years. I'll just pull it apart and just show you what you should look for if you are having trouble with this machine. We'll just start with taking some of the parts off that we need to. This is a step deflector to keep your pool cleaner away from steps and from the walls, so it doesn't get stuck. There are different sizes that we can provide you. They are optional. If you are having problems, it's quite rare that you will have an issue with those. Okay, this is the main area of suction on the G2. You really have a problem with these. They are replaceable, but they are very expensive. That creates a seal for the unit and connects the actual pool hose on the end of that to run it back to the skimmer box. The diaphragm is a common area of failure on these machines. It's held onto the inner tube just with a retaining ring. They can break, they're replaceable, they're cheap to replace. If you're having problems, first check this. It's rare, but you can get cracks in the inner tube. Put a stop to your cleaner. Holes in diaphragms, it can be quite hard to see because they're underneath those the retaining ring. Just have a close look. You can see on this one, right on the edge. It's a very common fault. The next thing to do, keep your retaining ring. If you're changing a diaphragm, there are a couple of different Baracudas that use different types. You can see the lug on that one. That's on some of the older type Baracudas. The new ones are all round, but just if you are replacing it, just make sure that you are choosing the right machine. Putting it back together, new diaphragm, slip over the retaining ring, put it on the inner tube. Before you slip it into the cassette chamber, just have a close look. I've got one here from a machine, a crack, typically caused by high suction. There are a few of these which we've seen being returned, so just check that that's not the issue. That will put a stop to the machine very quickly as well. Before I slip this back on, this part here, compression ring, this creates a pulse for the G2, a crucial part. So to check whether your one works, just push on the top of it and make sure that there's some spring. If there's no spring along those pliers, simply just grab onto the compression ring, pull it out, grab the new one and feed it back in. Just make sure it all lines up and you get it right way to the bottom. Once you've done that, just check that they spring again in the compression ring, that you know that you put it in properly. Slide the tube through, pull it through, screw the parts together, tight. That's done. Now the other parts here which are replaceable, locking collar, you can get cracks in these replaceable parts. There's weights inside the G2 to keep it stable, and at the bottom of the pool the weight's just a piece of lead held in by a weight cover, also a replaceable part. You can buy these if they crack. It is rare, but we do carry them and do sell quite a few. Foot of the machine, if you don't have any gaps here, basically the machine's going to stick to the bottom of the pool and not move, so you need to ensure that it doesn't wear so flat that your pool cleaner gets stuck. It will wear fast on rough surfaces. These just pull off. You might need a screwdriver to slip around to put the foot back on. Again, the skirt's another big issue. Is an issue. You'll probably get about 3 years out of them before you have to replace them. It's an easy part to replace, just pull the foot over. And the foot again just basically pulls off. This one, being a new machine, it's going to be a bit harder to remove. But it's about $50–$55 to replace one of those. When you start putting these back together again, just make sure the back goes in first. And then just slip a screwdriver around the edge. You'll be able to get 3/4 of it on, and then just work your way around and get the rest. There's no real easy way to do this. Everyone finds it as hard as each other. Just basically put a screwdriver in and just keep working around it so you get the whole foot on. Okay, that's on. Put the skirt back over. Just requires a little bit of persuasion. Okay, just make sure that this spins again. And just simply screw that back in. And your pool cleaner should be working like it was new once again. We just need to put on the step deflector, just clip straight on. Just needs a little bit of force. Okay, we're back to where we started.